Hey, what's up, guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of the CW's The Originals. And this week we've seen Season 3, Episode 18, called The Devil Comes Here and Sighs. I like the title. Of course, took notes on this one. And overall, I actually really did like this episode, I thought it was really one of the really good ones so far this season. The season's been improving as it's gone along. I was kind of a little bit underwhelmed by it earlier on, but the season's been getting better and better, as has Season 7 of The Vampire Diaries for the most part, anyway. The Originals is definitely still a superior show, though. And The Originals this week, it did really get me going. I did like it. There were a couple of things I found a little bit funny, or a little bit odd or inaccurate as to how Klaus is actually brought down and captured. We all knew this was going to be a setup. Have you seen the previews at the end of last week's episode? But we'll talk more about that as we get into the review. Of course, the episode opens with Lucien and Aurora on a date of sorts, and Lucien ends up basically proposing to her, except with the deal and with the the blood mixed with it, with Freya's blood mixing with the dark magic and stuff. And Aurora supposedly wants to take him up on the deal, but she can't do it without Tristan, or she'll always be thinking about that. So Lucien pledges to either find Tristan or kill Elijah to put him at rest. And I did like the opening scene between the two of them, but as we found out later, it's not nearly as genuine as far as undying love goes as Lucien would like it to be. Then Devine ends up bringing Cole to a bar, the bar that actually, blocks out all magic that we've seen before plenty of times. And, it seems to relieve him, so it's kind of cool to see Cole sort of shut, that struggle with himself off temporarily anyway. But, Vincent's there to help try and figure something out. Klaus actually visits Cami. We haven't seen Cami in a little while, have we? I almost forgot about her. The only reason I probably didn't is because I still remembered how much she means to Klaus and stuff. But as far as the Cami character, I said they didn't really do it the right way when they turned her into a vampire. But it looks like she's probably going in the right direction again with this episode, but we'll see. Cami tells Klaus she's sorry about Finn. Cannot read what I wrote. Then Klaus, says her feelings towards him are still clear. And then Klaus ends up finding Lucien, and Lucien and Klaus have a brief fight. Of course, Lucien being basically an upgraded original, he ends up knocking Klaus down pretty easily. And, Klaus lands a couple hits on him here and there, but Klaus had brought Papa Tunde's blade, and Lucien ends up stabbing with it to, incapacitate him or, knock him out temporarily anyway, so he can get him to where he wanted him. And this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. I know Lucien's supposed to be this basically upgraded original right now, but at the same time, why do they not have Klaus use his full hybrid powers pretty much at all anymore? It's kind of frustrating. I love the Klaus character so much. He's my favorite character in this whole Vampire Diaries Originals world. He's one of my favorite leads of all time in any TV show, actually. So when I see them the way they've been undermining him writing-wise, or maybe not undermining him, but more so conveniently having him not use his powers just so he can get into more difficult situations a little bit easier, it's annoying. I know it'd be a little bit more difficult to make a bigger conflicts if he, could just destroy everyone when he wanted, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe they could have, found a way to, somehow, maybe even they could have had Lucien sort of, compel Cami to, stick him with Papa Tunde's blade or something, since he has all his power now, he could do it. So he wouldn't actually have to beat Klaus one-on-one, and that way that would mean Klaus wouldn't have even had a chance to use his hybrid powers, but he did, and they just didn't let him do it. Again, the writers, I don't know what they do with Klaus sometimes. I feel like they need another scene like we had, I think it was episode 8 of season 1, where Marcel and Rebecca were trying to, take down Klaus, and when Klaus just completely unleashed his powers and just knocked on all the vampires left and right and stuff. We need a moment like that again, just to really re-emphasize how powerful and strong Klaus actually is, which he still should be, but they just weaken him for the plot convenience, really, and it does bother me sometimes. But again, it is what it is, and it led to some pretty good scenes later on, but still, how he got captured does bug me. Let's see. Vincent, he talks about wanting to basically negotiate or sort of like talk to the ancestors and reach out to them, sort of try to figure out like a way or why they allowed Lucien to get the kind of power he has now, with the whole ritual thing he did last week. Lucien ends up having Klaus locked in this supernatural, trap type of thing. I don't know what the exact mechanism or type of thing is called, but it ends up having some kind of ancient supernatural power, so whatever supernatural force tries to get out of it, they can't. And it's kind of funny how these things just pop up sometimes and they're just there and they just have them. Again, with more conveniences. Let's see what else. Maybe I should hold my notes up so I'm not always looking down like this, huh? Anyway, Van Wyn, who's a guy I remember the look of him, but I didn't remember his name. But I heard his name, so I had to write it down. I just wrote Guy. Takes out Vincent at first. But yeah, Van Wyn, that was his name. We see him before when Davina was trying to be regent and stuff like that. Or I don't know if that's the right. I can't talk right now. And a little voice crack, so that's cool too. But of course, we've seen him back when Davina was trying to lead the witches and stuff. And, it turns out he's the one sort of in control of them now, and he ends up taking out Vincent. And, he supposedly says the ancestors were talking to him, and they didn't want that to be done with what Vincent was trying to do. So Lucien's supposedly a champion right now, I guess. And, we see Klaus, he tries to play on Aurora's feelings, saying, I was never actually plotting to keep you, locked in, cemetery or whatever forever, that he actually did love her and he couldn't bring himself to kill her. And Aurora points out how desperate that is. And, Klaus has tried to manipulate people a lot, and he usually uses it pretty intelligently, but, with this, he didn't really know what to do, because, again, they got Klaus in sort of a more of a defenseless position than usual. But Klaus's intelligence and way of getting to people does actually come in a bit more handy a little bit later, so we'll talk about that. Klaus starts talking about Lucien, how she's she actually in love with that imbecile, and Aurora meant she doesn't really care about Lucien so much, but more so the power he can give her, and more so like how the situation is just working to be with him. How it's just a mechanism to get her what she wants. And as we see later on, Klaus actually knows, of course, being there with Lucien before, he knows that Lucien has some hidden cameras. And Klaus, we see it later on, he actually looked into the camera and smiled because he knew Lucien, looking back at the recordings, would hear Aurora say that, and that just cut to the core of him. So I thought that was pretty funny. Klaus's smile we've seen later on. So again, Klaus did successfully play some mind games here, and at least they gave Klaus that. If they were going to weaken him physically, like they have been a lot lately, at least still accurately portray how intelligent he actually is. Let's see. I want to skip over some stuff here. Again, my mind's kind of all over the place right now because I do have to get ready for work soon. I apologize about this. And Aurora actually ends up kind of brutally, bleeding Klaus out a little bit, because she kind of stabs him in the neck with a knife and ends up kind of twisting it around. It looks pretty brutal from what we've seen of it. And then Aurora actually ends up drinking the blood that Lucien had given her, but keep in mind she still needs to die before she can actually turn into something like him. Klaus does end up getting to Aurora a little bit more later. And it was actually before the whole neck thing I just talked about. But he basically says, even if he dies on this day, or no matter what Aurora becomes, she's still going to live this miserable type of existence. In the back of her mind, she knows that. She knows she's not all this, and she doesn't have that, basically. So she's going to keep on feeling down about herself and just be completely nothing, the rest of her life, no matter what. And, Aurora, that's when she did the next thing I told you about, but at the same time, you could see that got to where you could see her start to get pretty upset, so I like that. Lucien, of course, is going after Elijah to try and find out the location of Tristan, or to kill him if, he won't tell him. Lucien admits he doesn't really much like Tristan, but he's more so doing it as just a courtesy for Aurora, but if he can't find him, that's no big deal to him. And he knocks Elijah around a little bit. Let's see. Cole also was having more trouble in this episode, even though he was in the bar. It turns out the ancestors are still trying to get through it to try and get him to screw up. Marcel shows up, though, to protect Davina, and also, keep a bloodbath from occurring right in the middle of his territory. Freya actually ends up showing up and stopping Lucien, or at least temporarily, so it's kind of cool to see Freya use her power in a way that makes sense there, so, props to that. Of course, it was good seeing Freya actually come in handy, like she should. Cami ends up showing up for Klaus, and Haley and Cami end up fighting with Aurora a little bit. Haley actually manages to get the advantage over Aurora, but before she's about to tear Aurora's heart out, Klaus stops her, tells her not to, because if Aurora is killed, she's going to turn into what Lucien is, and that will be even worse. And when Haley's distracted, hearing that, Aurora manages to snap her neck. And then, ends up being a standoff between Cami and Aurora here, which we'll talk more about in a second. Marcel ends up telling Cole to leave, and, of course, to protect Davina. Let's see, got notes on the side. Lucien ends up getting out of the trap, but, it kind of goes back and forth a little bit. And finally, Cami and Haley manage to inject Aurora with something, sort of knock her out but not kill her, so she doesn't turn. So it's kind of cool to see Cami get a moment over Aurora. And of course, with Aurora wanting to kill both the mother of Klaus's child and, someone he's cared more deeply about than anyone, she wanted to kill him in front of Klaus. So of course, that didn't work. She's down now. So I thought Aurora was actually going to get the power that Lucien had, but, in a way, I appreciate that not actually happening yet anyway. Cole actually does, drive pretty close to out of New Orleans. He crosses the border, but then, he starting to die. And so he actually has to jump back on the other side to keep himself from dying. So it's probably another part of the ancestors, the whole, infliction that's on him with his struggle. So is Cole going to come back and finally lose control and have to be put down or something? I hope not. I do hope they find a way out of this. I would like Cole to be part of the main cast, like going into season 4 and stuff, but I don't know, I'm kind of worried about it. Let's see. Yeah, then of course, Lucien, he goes back to the penthouse and he sees the recording that, of the Aurora and Klaus session with Klaus getting Aurora to say that she doesn't really care so much for Lucien, more so just like means to an end, really, and that gets to Lucien. And of course, as a payback for that, Lucien ends up finding Cami at her place. And just prior to that, Haley said, encourage Klaus to go see Cami, because even though she's acting a certain way, that doesn't take away her feelings for him. And I was hoping Klaus would interrupt Lucien here, but Lucien actually ends up biting Cami, and, his bite is actually lethal to anyone, even an original, and Klaus isn't going to be able to cure it. And that's where the episode ends, pretty good cliffhanger there for sure. It's overall a really good episode. I did like it. Despite my frustrations with, them sort of weakening Klaus for plot convenience, it still continues to bother me. But I did like the rest of it, and, I like the dialogue with Klaus and Aurora and stuff. And, I'm looking forward to Lucien being killed off, so I can't wait for that. I'm wondering how they're going to heal Cami, though. She's obviously not going to die, though, but there's going to be some way around it, I'm sure. But I'm looking forward to when Klaus and Lucien get another one-on-one, and I really, really want to see Klaus kill him now. It's going to be really damn satisfying. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and look for unspoileddead.com. Again, I apologize if this wasn't one of my better reviews, but I do have to get to work pretty shortly. Hope you guys enjoyed the video anyway, though, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.